A calendar is a budget for time. If there's nothing on my calendar, I'm so stress-free.
My job is to go into these different businesses, ask questions, and poke holes.
With so many irons in the fire that you have, how do you decide, which venture to put most of your time into?
Man, that is a hard one. So I'm incredibly blessed in that I've built up a very solid team across all the different things that I do. At the two wedding venues, I've got a full-time staff of 4 or 5 people there that kind of run the show. And then, at Off Leash Construction, I've got an incredible group of people. I've got Jamie, who you guys deal with a lot, who runs maintenance, Lauren running operations, Paul running construction. So basically, my job is to go into these different businesses and poke holes. Mm-hmm. That's I go in there and recently did this at the Wilds, one of the 2 wedding venues, where I saw some issues with our business processes, and I needed to go in there and understand it, poke holes, ask questions, and create chaos, and then hand it back to them to go fix. And that's kind of what I do on a day-to-day basis. Is I just go back and forth. And thankfully, I've got, like I said, an incredible team. I also have a virtual assistant who kind of keeps me on track and wrangles me a little bit and tells me what I need to do every morning and like where the fires are. Because I've got incoming like requests coming at me from 14 different directions all the time, and she kind of acts as my filter, and then tells me, hey, these are the important things you need to focus on, otherwise balls are going to drop. So I don't know if that necessarily answers your question, aside from like you got to build the systems and build the teams so that when you step away, things continue to happen. Like that actually is always the most impressive thing for me. Is I'm very bad about taking vacations, but when I do, like the businesses continue to run, which is the sign that you've done something right.
Live and die by the calendar, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Calendar and to-do list.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you. People who don't use like to-do lists and calendars drive me insane. Like I will very quickly move them out of my world because I don't have the patience for it.
Stuart, I'm smiling at Stuart because like that probably reminds you of what I'm like.
Yeah.
and what I've had to become. I wasn't necessarily in a position where I needed to live like that before I met Ryan, but more so than ever, I've been living by my calendar, both personally and professionally, and it's made my world so much easier.
Yeah, a calendar is like, so I first heard this like in college when people would talk about like creating a budget and stuff. And I remember I heard somebody like describe like, oh yeah, you create a budget and it actually gives you more freedom financially. And I just think a calendar is a budget for time. Mm-hmm. So if I want freedom with my time, then I need to know exactly where I need to be and when, because then if there's nothing on my calendar, I'm so stress free. Because I know that I'm not needed anymore. Or what am I forgetting? When we have people on our team and like we'll have like it's always like as we onboard like a new team member, I feel like there's always a grind there where I'm just like, add it to your calendar. Add it if it's not on they'll even I'm so bad, like if team members want to call and discuss something, I send them my calendar link to book, and I'm like, add it to my calendar. Yeah. If you want to, have a meeting.
And here's what I'll tell you: your next step is going to be like my VA EA. Like I don't even update my own calendar when I need something changed. I just shoot her a text, and she'll do it. Or like somebody on my team wants to have coffee with me or wants to have a call. Hey, they know now. They don't even reach out to me anymore. They just reach out to Tamar in order to get on my calendar. Like that will be.
That's the metamorphosis.
It's pretty fantastic once you like don't even touch your calendar. You just look at it.
Well, that was actually something I wanted to get deeper into. You mentioned like you have a VA that like preps you every morning. Like here's what Nick needs to do. Mm-hmm. As somebody like I work with VAs myself. I've trained them to work different positions within our organization, but I have never done the sort of the personal assistant or the executive assistant type VA. And I think part of that for me, maybe it's a control thing. Maybe it's like maybe it's like I don't want to give somebody that much access. So I'm curious kind of how did you develop that? And like what, I don't know. I mean, of course, don't overshare, but like, whatever you want to say on that. I'm very curious.
Yeah. So, I felt like for a long time, I was going too many different directions, kind of to Stuart's earlier question. And everybody and their mother was like pulling at my attention, pulling at my time. And I wouldn't say I had a breakdown or anything like that, but I was always stressed to the max. I knew that if I went in do not disturb mode, I would come back to a million messages. And like hell, I just went in do not disturb mode before this, and I'm pretty calm about it because I know there's there are 3 people who can get through to me at any given point in time now. It's my wife, my daughter's babysitter, and my executive assistant or VA. Yes, I've given more access. She has access to my email. She has access to my calendar. She goes through my email and clears a bunch of the stuff that I don't need to be thinking about or worrying about on a day-to-day basis. But I give that access so that I don't have to give access, like smaller pieces of access to everybody else.
Yeah.
And what it means is, I've got Google Chat on my phone. I have no notifications on Google Chat. I almost never go in Google Chat, despite the fact that I've got 20 plus employees at Off Leash Construction that are constantly chattering about a variety of different things, because I know as soon as something comes up that I need to be aware of, Tamara's going to shoot me an iMessage. And like, so my inbox then just becomes like, she can get through to me if something important's going on within that world. And nobody else on my team except for Lauren and Paul, who are my co-founders of Off Leash, even have my personal phone number. That actually has been a huge improvement. Like, I don't give out my personal phone number anymore. Tamara actually has access to, we use Open Phone, which I think just rebranded to Quo. But like, we have a shared number on there, so that's the number I give out to people now, so that I don't have to give my personal phone number. So again, she can be my filter. It's like, hey, you actually need to pay attention to this one. So you find one person that you like, trust, and can train up, and they're never going to do it as well as you will. I guarantee that you're the business owner of Intrigue. Like, you brought in Stuart. I'm sure he does an absolutely incredible job by every metric that you guys are looking for. But I guarantee that there are things that you're like, if I was in that seat, I would do it better here as the business owner, because like, you have just a different perspective on it. And like, you're trying to train somebody up, and but like that, having somebody there doing 90, 95, 98% as good as you could do it means that you have that time to go and do 1,000 other things to grow Intrigue. And that's kind of the way I view it is, yeah, she'll definitely piss a couple people off, but like, the people who really matter that I get eye to eye with will definitely have an understanding of kind of what's going on in my world, in my life.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's kind of, as you were kind of describing that, I think that my hang up with it is definitely more on the control side than the access side, because I have given out that like different levels of access to different people on the team, but it does come down to that just wanting certain things like handled the way I want them to be handled. But then of course, then you get spread really thin.
Yeah.
So I can completely relate to that, like that feeling of like, I don't want to go 24 hours not looking at my inbox.
Yeah.
Because it just means that stuff's going to pile up in there. Mm-hmm. So I think, it's probably something I need to look into at some point.
Or not. Like, hey, it works for me. It might not be the right fit for everybody. I just, for me, I don't want to let my team down. And I know that I will, if I am responsible for managing my own filter, I'm going to let my team down.
Yeah.
And so there, that's kind of my perspective on it, because I could feel myself burning out.
Yeah. I think trust is a heavy factor there, because, you obviously have a lot of trust with your go-to person, and Ryan and I have a dynamic where I'm always open to some kind of whether it's positive reinforcement or constructive criticism. If he wanted to do something differently, I'm encouraging him to tell me regularly, like, hey, just tell me, and maybe I can tweak it a little in the future, or just tell me I did it wrong, but maybe privately. Right?
Yeah, maybe not in front of all of our podcast listeners here.
Sure. Yeah, no.
100%. Yeah. Anytime like I'm giving Stuart feedback, I think I've done this multiple times where it'll usually be something like that, where it's like, I would have done that a little different if it were me. Yeah. And not even that he necessarily did it wrong. It's just like, well, I would have done it differently, and here's the reasons, why. And sometimes when I'm giving that feedback, I think I've done this a couple times where I'll say like, hey, I just need to say something, and I'm going to do it really clunky. I just like, apologies in advance for, just like trying to leave like, the emotion of feedback out of it. It's just like, this is, I have to do, just for my own psyche, I have to say, this feedback, and I apologize if I don't do it in a perfectly,
coherent
way.
Coherent, kind, like, hear this in the way it's intended, not in the way it actually, like the words that come out of my mouth.
Hear the words in my head, not the words that come out of my mouth, please.
Well, I'll always give you a couple extra opportunities, kind of just like recording a podcast. When it's not live, we have the opportunity to like say like, well, hold on, let me say that again, but also with this preface. But yeah, I think that trust is very important when you're working with someone who has so much access and control over your day to day.
When it takes time, like let's be honest about it here. Like, you might not want to give up access to your inbox, but right now you've given up access, or not access, but like you've given up control of the entire maintenance and billing. And I don't even know all of Stuart's responsibilities, but you've given up a huge portion of that business. And like, you guys are 300, 400 doors of property management. That's a huge business that you have basically offloaded to somebody else, and you're managing, but that there's a huge amount of trust there.
Yeah. For real. I think that's also why I'm like, I think I look at like the inbox as like the final, like the last stand for me, where it's like, if I give, like, I've already got team members that are doing things with the business that like, I'm not in the room for, so I'm not privy to. And thanks for bringing that up. I try not to think about that, but but it's like, it's all like, okay, that's already happening. So anything that hits my inbox, like, it's like, I want to be able to steer this, but that I feel like that's a tension you're always wrestling with as an owner, is that like, sort of in your own mind, like doing my part to like steer the ship as best I can. But knowing that I'm one person, and like, as this company grows, I can't do all the things.
No.
So you have to delegate at a certain point. But I really loved I wanted to circle back to, I loved how you put it when it comes to what the job of an owner, or the job of like the president, CEO of a company becomes, is like going around poking holes. Like, because I relate to that so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's somebody else's job somebody else owns this process. I'm not going to be so much of a control freak that I'm going to come and completely revamp it for them, but I'm going to go in there and basically break it and say like, that here's where the breakdown is, and we got to do something else here.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a delicate balance, and I'm not good at this. I'm not necessarily good at the proactive, like, you're kicking butt, guys. Let's go. Like, I have to be reminded. I actually have a reminder for myself every single day to like compliment one of my employees, because that's just not my default. I go around poking holes, and so like I was doing it this weekend. I sent an email to a bunch of team members. I'm like, hey, our website only shows availability for these days. Is that right? That doesn't feel right to me. And people then were responding over the weekend. I'm like, oh shoot, like that was a miss on my part. Like, I should have deliveried that until a week. And so it's definitely poking holes. It's definitely finding the breakdowns in the process, but simultaneously building your team up and making them feel tall enough that they can solve any of the problems that that they're going to face, or that you put in front of them.
You can check out our full library of episodes wherever you get your podcasts.